Hi guys! Today I just want to talk to you about how I decipher food labels. I know it can be really confusing looking at what's the information, the nutritional information and the details that are on food labels, and it can just be overwhelming. So I'm going to walk you through today how I read food labels, and hopefully by the end of it you'll have a little bit more of a clear understanding on what to look for and how to make a decision so that you know you're making the right decision for your health. So I've just picked up this actually got it from the recycling in my apartment block, because I don't really buy that much packaged food, and I went through my pantry and I couldn't really find anything that was a good example. So I went and got this, which is a pastry, pre-bought pastry pack. So the first thing I would do is when I go to buy something, I would pick it up, and all the stuff that's on the front, if there's health claims or there's stuff that's saying, you know, it includes things or it's added things or blah, 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 I don't look at any of that. That's just marketing stuff, and I don't really care about that. It's not important to me. I care about the quality of the product. So I will turn the product over, and the first thing I will look at is ingredients, and I will firstly scan and look for numbers, because that's the first thing I will look for. And if you're starting out and not really used to looking or reading food labels, the first thing you should do is look for numbers. And if there's numbers in brackets, I'm not really sure if you can see in there, but there's lots of brackets with different numbers which mean different things in Australia. I just steer clear of it. It's completely out of the question. It's not even on the cards. So what I have noticed though in the last couple of years especially is that food manufacturers have gotten a lot smarter with their food labelling, and they are actually starting to put the real food name rather than the number. So it can be confusing if you don't actually know if that ingredient is okay, because you're used to looking for the numbers and people are like, oh, there's no numbers, it must be fine. So you sort of have to read into it a little bit more than that. This product has wheat in it, and I don't agree. I don't think that modern wheat is actually good for you. So that for me would be an immediate no-no. When you look at the ingredients list, this is only in Australia, by the way. So if you're watching this in another country, your legislation around food labelling might be a little bit different. But in Australia, the listed foods have to be listed in descending order of weight, so largest to smallest. If it's under 5%, it doesn't have to be listed. So just keep in mind also that when you're looking at a food label, there might be things on there that don't have to be listed. So wheat is obviously the main ingredient. Then it's followed by margarine, and in brackets it's got what's in the margarine. Not all food labels have this, so you might actually have an ingredient that is actually another packaged food, and it's put into that product, and it's not labelled. The ingredients aren't labelled. Some products seem to have it, but not all products. I've noticed, you know, you look at some things and they will have it in brackets, and it is becoming more common, but I've noticed that not all products do that. So it's got margarine, and margarine is a highly processed, man-made product, and it's something I steer clear of. If it's got any type of oil in it, like if it's got any type of I look at the quality of the oil. So if it's canola, it's likely to be genetically modified unless it says so. If it's soybean oil, the same thing, it's likely to be genetically modified. You know, probably 99% chances is that it's genetically modified unless it says so. Canola oil is one of the few products in Australia that is actually currently genetically modified there is genetically modified farming. So the chances are that it is GM food. I then look at the other things in the food. So I then look at, you know, has it got flavourings? Because the flavourings in the food, you can just say flavour, and it doesn't actually have to list what the flavour is, so you don't really know what you're getting. You know, it has other preservatives and all sorts of stuff, so you sort of just need to start becoming aware of of the names. If there's something in there that you don't know what it is and it doesn't look like a real food, that's a sign to scrap it. If it's got a processed oil, like I just discussed, that's a sign to scrap the food. You know, you don't want it. You don't want it in your diet. If you look at a product, and this is something with breakfast cereals I've noticed a lot, they have different forms of sugar. So it might not just say sugar, it might say glucose syrup, it might say, you know, fruit juice, it might say there's a whole range, and that they're all sugars, but they're just hidden sugars because the average person that will look at these ingredients won't realize that they're all sugars. So sometimes some food companies can be sneaky and say no added sugar, and there'll be, you know, a whole heap of fruit juice or something in there, and it's like, well, that's still sugar. So that's what I do. So if I go through it, it's got ingredients that I don't like. If it's got numbers, it goes. If it's got vegetable oils, it's not even in it. The other thing I look out for is soy lecithin, and if it's got the words things like flavour and that sort of detail, I don't buy it either, because I don't know what the flavour is. Even if it says natural flavour, you still don't know what it is, and it's a very loose sort of term, so I just generally try to avoid it. If the thing I'm looking at passes the ingredients test, I then go and look at the nutritional panel. And in the nutritional panel, I don't really pay attention to a whole heap of things. The two things I really look at is sugar, and I look at it. I look at the sugar content per 100 grams, and if it's you know, over 6 or 7 grams per 100 grams of, you know, I will avoid it. And it depends what you're buying, you know, like, are you buying something where you're only going to have a teeny tiny bit, so per 100 grams isn't really relevant, or are you buying something where you will have way more than 100 grams? So you sort of need to look at 100 grams to get some perspective. So usually I'll look at the 100 grams, I'll look at the sugar content and see if it's around the 6 or 7 gram mark or less. If it's over that, I depending on what it is, but I usually will avoid it, you know. So if it's something sweet, or if it's you know, like some chocolate or something like that, and it's, you know, it's sky high, I won't get it. And then I look at salt, but I don't really, like, I sort of just look at sugar, and then I look at trans fat, and just to let you know as well, trans fats don't have to always be listed. So that's it, that's all I do, that's what I look at. And if it doesn't pass those two tests, then I don't get it. So my recommendation is to, if you're really used to buying packaged foods, start buying more whole foods and things that aren't in packets. So go to a farmer's market and buy all your fruit and veg, and stuff that's from nature doesn't come in a packet, so then you don't have to worry about what's in it and what the ingredients are. You know, like, it's a piece of broccoli or it's a carrot, it's obvious that it's going to be good for you. So go by the motto of just eat real food. Use that as your guide, but if you do need to buy some sort of packaged food, then that's how you do it. Okay guys, that's all for now.